Hello everyone, Tucker here from Mass Effect Follower, and I am here with Shay Pomeroy.
Yeah, hey, how's it going?
And what is your job here, or what is your job at BioWare?
So I am the community manager for everything BioWare, essentially. I worked on Inquisition, and I kind of, did the whole campaign for that. And I've kind of been on Andromeda for, since the beginning.
You got here in the beginning, you didn't come on like mid production, took you.
Yeah, I guess, to clarify, usually, community, PR, marketing stuff will move on obviously a bit later than the developers. But, we're actually involved pretty early when it comes to looking at, we look at early prototype type stuff and, we actually help feedback on stuff. So, yeah.
And how did you get that position at BioWare? Because it's not a usual thing like programming or something like that.
So technically I'm at EA,
Okay.
not BioWare. Even though it's kind of the same thing. So actually, I started on the web team at EA Vancouver. So I built websites in university, and I was obviously always a huge nerd, and I was passionate about anything tech, anything sci-fi, especially. I was on the web team, and then I started doing community for sports games, and then eventually transitioned to what my passion is, which is BioWare.
That's awesome. And so you were kind of saying like how you got there, but as the community manager, what's an average day for you? What's a normal kind of day for you?
Wow, that's a tough one to answer, because every day is kind of so different, which is what I really love about working with the community, right? It's not, I don't know if I could ever do a job where I come in and, I do the exact same thing, right? Like I like to
the 5 to 9 or 9 to 5 job.
Yeah, like not even the hours, but I like to do something different. And any new challenge is good. But I'd say like an average day is obviously our job is to kind of be the conduit between the development team and you the fan. So what we do is anything from designing kind of activations in our community or in our kind of like community timeline, like bigger like contests or any sort of kind of planning around like the campaign and how we release information. That's a huge part of it. To doing events like this, to any sort of general stuff, with YouTubers, Twitch streamers, and then obviously helping get the feedback from the community to the developers in the right way.
And so you mentioned a lot that you talk with the community and stuff like that. What are some of your favorite things though to see in the community?
I think with BioWare games especially, and Mass Effect especially, is anything the community creates, like fan art, videos, not that kind of fan art.
No. Fan art is pretty cool, especially when you guys like release a new character or something.
I guess the cool thing about Mass Effect is that you have all these like really interesting kind of alien planets and characters and really interesting stuff that the community can run with, right? They can look at a new character or a new planet and they can there'll be an interesting design and something that is really alien, and then the community builds off that and they start kind of talking about theories and content and whatnot, and I love checking out that sort of stuff, just fan created stuff. Yeah.
And fans, they always have ideas for games and things like that. How much back and forth do you do with developers? With the fans have this idea for it, or things like things like that.
Yeah. So obviously a big part is kind of managing the feedback from the community and kind of bringing it to the devs. And honestly, like I think something that people don't talk about is that it's a really big challenge moderating what kind of feedback I take to the development team and who sees that, because a lot of different players play our game, right? And something that one player wants, it's easy to kind of get caught up and is that indicative of the whole fan base? Is this issue someone's having?
True to Mass Effect.
Yeah, that as well, but something that maybe one person wants, maybe 5 other people would hate that in the game, right? So where do you strike the balance between, addressing fan concerns and bringing feedback to the dev team, but also making sure that the game is accessible by everyone. And so I guess that's kind of a long answer, but that's kind of the challenge, right?
Yeah, and as someone you do work on Mass Effect Andromeda, but you don't really work on the programming or the art or things like that. So from someone that's not in the core like development team,
Mm-hmm.
how is it like viewing Mass Effect Andromeda? What are your opinions on how it's been?
Honestly, I'm biased, but I
Well, I
certainly
know.
no, I really like it. I think for me, just space exploration is something I'm really passionate about, and that's across any movie, books, television, and any sci-fi game. I kind of immediately just engage with, right? And so, Mass Effect for me has a really strong exploration theme. And that and stronger than I think most players realize until they play the game. And I love being an explorer, a pioneer. I'm wearing a SpaceX shirt. I'm very like into that culturally, right? And I hope maybe one day I can go into space. It's something as a kid I always thought, hey, with the progression of technology, I'm totally going to get to go into space when I'm older. And then things kind of stalled a bit, and I was worried. And now maybe things are kind of back on track with all the Mars stuff. But
Things have really been picking up.
yeah, no,
with
and
space
it's so
exploration.
cool, right? And even, but I think even games like Andromeda and movies like Interstellar and The Martian and stuff like that, like it's really important for the mainstream person that's not like a huge nerd like me to care about space and to engage with space, because that's where we have to go as a species. It's like what Elon Musk
How to
kind of
expand.
talks about, right? Like it's imperative that we expand and get off Earth, and so I guess I think it's important. Even though Andromeda is a video game, getting someone interested in that even a little bit, that's something I feel good about.
Yeah. And now going back to fans, whenever you guys put out a new bit of information or trailer or something, that the community absolutely explodes. But with everything that's happened, what has been some of your favorite reactions?
Oh wow, you're right. Like every time we put something out, it's a crazy reaction. I think for me, the very first major asset we put out, which was the trailer,
The Ghost Riders and
Ghost Riders in the Sky, exactly, yeah. Because that to me, like, I loved the tone of that trailer. I loved the vibe. I loved kind of showing off Mass Effect as you're you're a space cowboy, and you're there to explore, and you're there to be the tip of the spear, the first kind of boots on the ground. And I think a lot of reactions we saw from that, and especially from our core community, were really positive, and that sort of stuff helps us internally. Like we loved whenever we release something, we always look obviously how do people take it, and I think that trailer, there was so much positivity behind it. It really helped us kind of launch our campaign planning and just to where we are now.
And that also really kicked off theories. Like people had theories
Totally,
about
yeah. I
the
think
game
every
beforehand,
frame of that video was broken down and analyzed, and I like seeing that too. It's cool to kind of see what theories are out there.
I remember like seeing on some of the community forums that why that song, who's this person, where is this, who's that person on the back.
I remember reading all that, and yeah, some of it is like super super in depth, and it's funny because often there's a reason for most of what we do, but sometimes it will just be like a design choice or an aesthetic thing in the trailer that generates like so much kind of like so many theories behind it, and we'll be sitting there and be like, wow, we didn't intend for that, but that's really cool.
That's awesome. It's like it's just a little art thing.
Totally, yeah, yeah.
But so, what is the best way for the community to contact you or other people on the community team?
Oh wow, I mean honestly, like I always drive people to our main channels. I'm probably odd as a community manager where I'm not really super publicly out there. I guess I always think the focus should be the main channels in the game, and that's where we get most of, that's where all the information gets released. And
so you mean like the Mass Effect Twitter?
yeah. So
or
specifically Mass Effect Twitter, the Mass Effect YouTube. We're doing a lot of cool stuff on Instagram now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's like we focus on art, the art of Mass Effect a lot on there. Yeah, and I think each channel is a bit different. Like Facebook, it tends to be our more kind of editorial content. Twitter, is, are more a bit lighter, a bit more kind of engaging, directly. Instagram is obviously, since it's image focused, it's more kind of focused on art and stuff like that. So I think there's a bunch of different, mediums, and there's also, there's unofficial stuff, like I obviously go on Reddit a lot, NeoGAF, like all these communities. So yeah.
And what are you most proud of with Mass Effect Andromeda?
Oh wow. I've been working on it for so long that it's kind of hard to think of a specific thing. But I guess, I think it comes back to earlier that, getting people excited about space is just is important to me personally.
Getting people back into Mass Effect and
so it's really cool to launch, to be part of like a really kind of big sci-fi game, and I think it's like the right time too, right? There's clearly an appetite for an exploration focused game. We see a lot of kind of exploration focused games come out, and a lot of them are indie games, and it's really cool for like a AAA developer to kind of focus on that, and there'll be a lot more stuff like that in the future. So.
And the final question for you is, what does Mass Effect mean to you?
Wow. I think Mass Effect, I've always been a gamer, and I've played so many games, but I think Mass Effect was, when you're a kid and you kind of play those games, you play Zelda, and you play kind of those first games that really make you say, like, wow, right? I think there was like a long lapse where, I was always a gamer, but Mass Effect 1 was like, and 2 were the first kind of games in a long time that, and I wasn't at EA then, I was just in university, that like really made me think like, wow, this is why I play games, and this is something that, I haven't experienced in a long time. Like I remember, flying into the Citadel the first time, and there's like the music, and I don't know, not many things give you those moments, and even though I've been at EA a while now, it's still amazing to work on it. And I never thought I would have gotten to, when I was playing Mass Effect 1 and 2, and skipping my university classes to binge those games. It's really cool to be a part of it.
All right. Again, this was Shay Pomeroy from the community team at EA. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, I think that about covers it. But I hope everyone enjoys the game. I'm really excited. I think we do a lot of stuff leading up to launch, but you never really know what people think until they have their hands on the game. And I'm really excited to see what people think, and all the planets and all the companions, and kind of what characters people love, and so we'll wait and see.
Yeah, I've been playing the game for a few hours now, and it's absolutely incredible. But do you want to quickly remind the fans when the game comes out?
So Mass Effect will be launching on March 21st, and there will be early access on March 16th.
All right. Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, awesome.